Getting a mining job, how not to have a bad experience. Mining 101 podcast, transferable skills. Welcome to the fourth installment of our podcast, How to Getting a Mining Job and How Not to Have a Bad Experience. In today's podcast, we're going to talk about the transferable skills that you can take into the mining jobs that are available around the country. And as always, we're going to concentrate in on the hard rock underground because that's what we specialise in. And if you want a production mining job, the unfortunate truth of the matter is that there aren't any direct transferable skills. There's a few indirect ones, manual handling and all that sort of stuff, and if you've proved yourself in a labour-intensive environment, that can be good. But there aren't any real direct transferable skills that you can move straight over. They're all pretty unique jobs in the way that they're set up. And if you have a look at all the mines around the country, the mines that I'm talking about with these production mining jobs are all the gold and the base metal mines that are making metals that are going into all these batteries. So if you type underground into Seek, you'll see all the jobs come up. And if we use the underground truck as an example of how there's not a lot of transferable skills, you don't see these trucks driven on the surface. The reason you don't see these trucks driven on the surface is because they cost $3 to $4.5 million each. And that's one of the reasons why you're not going to be able to go down to an RTO and get a go in one of these things. It's just too expensive to make it happen. It's the same with the AGIs. These are the underground AGIs. So if you have got normal AGI experience, that's great with batching up and using it. But these are the actual AGIs that they use underground. It's not, typically a normal AGI truck that you use. It'll be one of these low profile ones so you can get in under the vent bag. Why am I bringing all this up is because people spend a fortune going through and buying tickets that they can't use on equipment that they don't use in the mine site proper. So if you go and get a ticket on an articulated dump truck on the surface, then there is no chance that that truck that you did that ticket on will be used in an underground mine. It's just not going to happen. And it's just so people spend a fortune on tickets, equipment tickets that they can't use, and they spend a fortune on resumes as well. And if we go over to the sponsors training and just have a look at their page on resumes before and after, it's like it says you've got 6 seconds to show the employer that you know something about mining or you don't. You either do or you don't, and that's the thing. If you don't, going and spending $500 to $1,000 getting your resume done isn't going to help you get a job. What's going to help you get a job is learning how the employer's mind works, because that's the skill that they all want and they all need. That's the transferable skill that you can bring into it. Understanding how the employer's mind works, their specific mine. If you're going for a hard rock underground mine, you can use the sponsors training to do that. I'm not going to go into it on the podcast. There's lots of videos that you can go and look at about how all that works. But the way people get jobs through our training program is by learning how the mine works and showing the employer that they know which way's up, and that's a skill that the employer can use. So I just want to use the resumes as a good example as well, because this is a typical resume that's full of R2 tickets that are usable in construction and shutdown work and coal in Queensland, but in the hard rock gold mines and base metal mines around the country, all the employers have to issue their own. They don't need an S11. It's just all laid out, and to be honest with you, an underground foreman's going to take one look at that and just go next. Whereas if they get something like this, it's easy to read. As soon as they see that you've done the underground training, they're going to want to ask you some questions. It only takes 5 minutes to ask you some mining questions. If they ask you 4 or 5 quick mining questions that you know the answer to, then chances are you've turned yourself, you're going to know the rest, and it's an easy win for them. By doing the training and learning the skill, you turn yourself into real low-hanging fruit, and people miss that. That's the total secret to getting a job, a production mining job, is showing the employer that you know how the mine works, because all the friction and all the problems that they have is not from teaching people how to drive trucks. That's easy, it only takes a couple of weeks. It's teaching them enough so you can leave them alone to get on with the job safely. And when you do training like this and you can talk to them about how it all works, it gives them the confidence to hire you. And this is a real resume. we've changed the names and all that sort of stuff, but one of the guys did DIY about 4 years ago now. Yeah, it's 2019, it's written up as, and part of the deal was that we just did his resume up for him properly, but we got to copy it and change all the names. So it's the same sort of background and all that sort of stuff, but it's just, a different name. So, one of the references is Jane Doe, and the other one is that legendary New Zealand fly half, Phil McCracken. There's a bit of humour in there, but the whole point of it is it reads nice and easy, and as soon as the foreman sees that you've done something and you know something about how their mind works, that you're offering them something, while you're just showing them a bunch of tickets that they can't use and an S11 that's for coal for a different side of the industry, you're not really showing them anything. You've got and people that come in with no mining experience green, they all fail at the same rate. It doesn't matter which background you came from. All the employers turn over more than 50% of them. That's why the pressure is on to show them that you know how it all works. You can see in the pay rates and rosters on the sponsors page here that you start off as a nipper or a truck driver around $400 to $500 a day, and you can work your way up to a jumbo operator, and jumbo operators make between $1,500 and $2,500 a day now, and you can go through the website and have a look at all that. But I just wanted to do a podcast on transferable skills, because a lot of people get caught up thinking that teaching themselves how to drive a truck is going to get them the job. That's not the transferable skill that the employer is looking for. The skill that the employer is looking for is knowing how it all works so they can throw you in the deep end. If you don't know how it works and you need someone standing beside you, pointing to you and telling you what to do, that just doesn't work, because they don't have those people available. The crew's the crew, and if somebody's teaching you, it means they're not doing their job at that particular time. Safety and training's been under the pump for the last 3 or 4 years, and they do bugger all training these days. Mostly what they do is paperwork, unfortunately. So you get a buddy to show you, and sometimes you only end up as good as your buddy, and a lot of people are set up to fail. Again, that's why the training got written back in the day. There's more videos about that you can go and have a look at, but this is about understanding that the transferable skill that all the employers want is knowing how their mine works. Everything else, if you've got machinery experience and all that sort of stuff, that's just bonus. What they're after is, and they don't care what background you come from. We've had a lot of diverse backgrounds over the years come through. As long as you can talk to them about how their mine works, and they think that they can throw you in the deep end and get you up and running in 3 or 4 weeks instead of the 2 or 3 months, that's what gets you the job. So I hope you found that interesting, and that is Mining 101.